Welcome to this edition of Hindsight is Horrifying, the show where three mostly normal and somewhat cynical adults discuss life as members of the TV generation. Now here are your hosts, Darth Jada, Jason Mitchell, and Adam B.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Salutations.
We're back.
From where?
Did we leave?
We never did.
We are back in the studio, in our studio in beautiful downtown Alpharetta, Georgia.
Awesome,
And-
Alpharetta.
Get out.
No,
get the
Have you never heard the Alpharetta song?
Please.
There's a real song.
I know. There's a song. How much did it cost?
I can't remember, but I know exactly who commissioned it.
I bet you do.
Probably a family member, perhaps.
I don't know what you're talking about.
As your attorney,
Yeah.
I advise you to
Anyway.
stop talking.
Emmett Walsh stars in.
George went. It was
Emmett
all
Walsh.
his fault.
Where did he go?
He went to Cheers.
I know.
Jason,
Uh,
I have a question. Whatever
yeah.
happened to Geena Davis?
Oh,
She used to be in movies, but she's not in movies
I
anymore.
know. I was actually thinking that when we were watching.
I had to
Welcome
beat
to the
you
show,
it.
everybody. And
Hello.
today, on Hindsight is Horrifying, we are going way back to the greatest decade of them all. The
Yes,
first
indeed.
half of the greatest decade ever, the 1980s, with a Chevy Chase. Actually, Chevy Chase, his favorite movie out of all the movies he's done.
Of course it is.
It's a real treat.
Yeah,
It was Chevy Chase starring as Chevy Chase.
Yes, we are watching Fletch,
Woo!
and
This is a Mr. Mitchell pick.
yeah, this was my pick.
Mhm.
So this one's all on me. If you don't like it,
It was after
write in, tell me.
It was after he took this severe blow to the head.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
got a scratch on his face for you.
Yeah.
You can't see it.
Said the wrong thing
Yeah.
at the household. Mhm.
No, I wish. No, I was actually in my workshop. I was looking for a piece of scrap wood, and I'm
Oh.
digging through a bunch of like just sawed off 2x4s and stuff like that. And there
What a
was a
great
piece of
story.
wood up here, and I didn't realize it was right there. And I
stood up.
tilted my head up, and it's actually okay now. It was
Tilted
all,
your head up and got a face full of wood.
yeah.
Mm.
I mean, it's not the first time it's happened to me. It's actually a fairly common occurrence. It's a risk that you just assume whenever you live a sort of life I live.
You're a strong,
Yeah.
independent woman who don't need no man.
Exactly.
Okay. So-
Needs and want are two different things.
Very true.
What's the movie about?
Okay, it actually has a fairly long synopsis considering. And
Well, it's
it is-
based on a book.
That's true. So I guess it really delves into the book a little bit too, because I don't agree with all of the synopsis, which is a veritable chameleon, investigative reporter Erwin Fletcher, Chevy Chase, might drive his editor, Richard Libertini, up the wall, but he always produces great pieces for the newspaper. He runs over a few mimes, he smashes into a few cop cars, but he gets results. No, but so when his next story is about the drug trade taking place on the beach, Fletch goes undercover as a homeless man. Unaware of Fletch's true identity, businessman Alan Stanwyck, Tim Matheson, offers Fletch $50,000 to kill him.
Mm.
Intrigued,
Such a great setup.
Fletch
Oh, yeah.
decides to unearth the full story behind the offer.
Yeah, this is a movie. It's based on a book,
It is indeed.
which surprises a lot of people because they think it's a Chevy Chase comedy based on a book.
Yeah, book
Well-
by the same name by Gregory McDonald.
Yeah, and first of all, it's not a comedy.
No.
It's
well,
it is no. In my opinion, it is a comedic detective movie because it is a detective movie. I mean, it genuinely is a. It's not even a whodunit because it's not even a murder. It's really you could have
It's like Columbo, but with Fletch.
yeah
Mormons.
yeah.
Yeah.
You could have you could take the exact same movie, put Robert Redford in it, and take the jokes out, and it's a straight up detective movie.
I want to see this with Clint Eastwood skating on the beach as Bum Jesus. That's what I want to see.
Well, actually,
You look the most like Clint Eastwood of the three of us, Mr. Brown. Why can you do that for us?
Go
Skate
ahead,
around
man.
as Bum Jesus.
I'll do it. I just can't spin the way he does. He's actually a good skater. Fletch.
In real life?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Fletch, not Chevy Chase. Got it.
the author had complete control over one aspect of the movie,
Which
and
is
casting.
Yes.
Oh.
And there were two people who were in the running before Chevy Chase.
I have, and you
And
would
well, go
never
ahead. Yeah,
guess.
why don't you enlighten the audience?
So I'm gonna let you guess on the first one, Mr.
Oh my goodness, I
No,
can't
he's-
guess that stuff.
Oh come on.
Is he a comedian?
Hold on. Well, I was
John
gonna give
Belushi.
I was going to give you some hints.
Okay.
That would would have been better, but I think he was dead by now.
Oh.
Oh, you're right.
In
He was.
85, he was already dead.
Yeah, he was. I think so. So McDonald rejected both of these actors. One of them is in a movie that we've done, and he has a pretty epic mustache.
Tom Selleck?
No, close.
When have we done a Tom Selleck movie?
I don't
Yeah.
know. But that's
He hasn't been around for the entirety of the
it
show.
would be
His senior memory is failing.
I know. No, it would be a Smokey and the Bandit.
Yes, Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds.
Burt
so
Reynolds.
McDonald rejected Burt Reynolds, and you'll never guess this one.
Yeah, this one was a surprise.
Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
What?
Before agreeing on Chevy Chase to play the title
Yeah.
role.
Mick Jagger would have been legitimately terrible.
Yeah, I mean, what? No offense.
Burt Reynolds would have been okay.
I've never seen Mick Jagger in anything besides, shorts on maybe Sesame Street or his own
No, he
music
was
videos.
he was in what was that science fiction movie he
I'm not
was
saying
in?
he hasn't done them. I'm saying I haven't seen
It
his
was
work.
horrible.
Oh,
And
yeah, it was
shot in
terrible.
the 80s.
Yeah, it was an 80s science fiction movie.
Emilio Estevez was in it.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
God.
like
Let's find out.
and it's funny because in my head I keep thinking of the Tom Selleck movie with the spiders, with the robot spiders.
I can only look up so many things at once, John.
I know.
Runaway, Escape, something like that.
Mick Jagger. Free Jack?
Free Jack.
Free
That was
Jack.
That was it.
1992.
Now
Whoa.
that was
I
92.
can't
That's what it
believe
says.
Oh, that's so weird. It's so weird how the memory does that. Oh, there's the car, the Jaguar XJS, a 12-cylinder
V?
V12.
V12.
Yeah, V12. With a
Runaway.
force. Yeah, Runaway. That's it.
It's
It's
Tom
Runaway.
Selleck spider.
Yeah.
The movie with the arañas.
Which is funny because in an episode of Community, Pierce lied and said that his brother was killed on the set of Runaway by one
Yeah.
of the spiders
And I don't think he calls it Runaway, though. He's just like, that Tom Selleck movie with
with the
mechanical
spiders. Yeah. If you've never seen that movie, by the way, seriously, do yourself a favor. It's free on Prime. It's they really try, and it's directed by Michael Crichton.
Oh,
Written by Michael Crichton and directed.
Very nice.
So, yeah. But anyway, Fletch.
Yes.
Now I picked this movie because I love the 1980s, and I love Chevy Chase.
Mm-hmm.
And after we watched the visual abortion Coneheads last week, I
know.
needed a good
Cleanse.
Yes, I needed-
palate cleansing.
yes.
He needed some sorbet.
Yeah. So I thought, what is a great 80s movie? And I was driving around and I had my one of my Pandora stations on. And for some totally random reason, it played Harold Faltermeyer's theme from Fletch. And I was just driving
Perfect.
around listening to it, and I had a smile on my face, and I thought, that's it.
Let's watch Fletch.
Yeah, that's it. That's the movie.
Lovely. So we see Otter, our link to Animal House.
Yeah.
Tom Matheson.
Tim.
Tim Matheson. And yeah, I've literally only seen him in two other movies, one of which is Animal House. The other is
Who was Otter's brother?
his brother.
Who was Otter's brother?
Was it Amadeus? I don't know.
No, an Animal House.
Yeah, that's what.
Flounder.
Oh, Flounder. That was
his
brother?
house brother, not his real brother.
Yeah. They're the frat brothers.
Okay, yeah. But
His
when
real-
you said brother, I thought there was going to be some deeper trivia.
Well,
to
there is
this.
actually a connection. There's a brother connection though, because, and I can't remember the name, but later on in the movie when Fletch is at the award ceremony,
Mhm.
and
Yes, also Animal House connection.
yeah, the name of the guy, is I can't remember what his name was.
Let's just pull it
Brad
up.
Dorff.
I know. It's getting old.
Why am I
Brad Dourif.
thinking,
We
why am
love
I thinking
Brad
Brad Dorff?
I don't know.
But no, and the name is
Oh, Chevy Chase was supposed to be Otter, apparently, in Animal House.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but Fletch has another Animal House connection, and this is from Mental Floss. The banquet that Fletch interrupts is being held for Fred Dorfman, the brother of Kent Dorfman, a.k.a. Flounder, one of the frat brothers from Animal House.
Yes, that's
So,
it.
yeah,
Beautiful.
but the only other movie, before I was so rudely interrupted, that I've ever seen Otter in is Van Wilder, where he plays Van Wilder's dad.
Oh God,
Wow.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that movie in
Oh, I love that
since
movie.
the day I saw it. I think.
Write that down.
Okay.
Anyway. Yeah, so Chevy Chase is now being approached.
Groomed.
Yes, he's being
Groomed as a murderer.
Sure.
Groomed to be a murderer. I like
Come
it.
on.
Yeah.
That sounds like a show on Investigation Discovery. Groomed to be a murderer. Next week. He was a 16-year-old student. She was a hot teacher.
Oh my God.
That's all of Investigation.
Getting hot
That's
in
every
here.
single episode of every show on that channel.
Ew. No, but I noticed something in this scene where Tim Matheson is soliciting Chevy Chase to murder him later in the week, on a Thursday when everyone's out of the house, including his wife and the help. But Chevy Chase, I noticed there's a link to Christmas Vacation because in this movie as well, Chevy Chase is staring out of a window at a pool, having a fantasy about a hot woman.
Christmas Vacation,
Yeah, he dreams up that pretty lady in the bathing suit.
Oh wait, yeah,
the
no,
department store.
he does the pool thing in he does it in Vacation also though.
That's what I'm saying.
No, he does it in the first one and Christmas Vacation.
Okay, then he just does this in a multitude.
It's
of movies.
his thing.
Yeah. Well, that's like the whole thing where he looks at his wrist. Oh,
And
geez,
there's
I gotta go.
timepiece there.
There were the gun in this scene where they're introducing the whole plot, which we should summarize, is
I already did the synopsis.
Smith and
Wesson?
the plot though.
Oh, okay.
A Smith and Wesson 357 Magnum, much like one carried by a certain,
Starsky and Hutch.
well, maybe I was going to say Murtaugh.
Oh, I'm getting too old for this.
Man.
Yeah.
Murtaugh.
So the whole crux of the movie is you have an investigative reporter who is at the beach and he's trying to find the source of the drugs. Very 80s storyline. Find the source of the drugs.
Heroin.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't the heroin, despite the fact that this was one of those typical 80s drug movies.
Yeah.
Because it was always heroin in the 80s. That was the big bad voodoo daddy
Cocaine.
of all drugs.
Yeah.
In this case, it was cocaine.
Yeah, which is weird because they call it junk, and junk is heroin.
Yeah.
I don't.
But you're right. No, you're totally correct.
It's usually
yeah.
heroin, but
We're splitting poppies here, guys.
yeah.
Come on.
Horse, junk,
Yeah.
whatever.
I like that.
It's right off the top of my head.
Anyway,
Nice.
Yes. Thank you.
that was awesome. Anyway.
Yeah, that was worthy of that. No,
He's going to be
there you go.
shucking poppies all night now.
so you have this reporter who's down there trying to find the source of the drugs, and he's approached by rich man because again it's the 80s, you got to have a rich villain who says, "I want you to murder me because I have bone cancer. It's eating me
Bone
up."
cancer.
And how is it eating him up? Bit by
By
bit.
Oh Lord.
It's the song in the movie, and he says it.
Yeah,
Anyway,
well, yeah.
but so he says, "Cancer is eating me up bit by bit, and I don't want to go through that. And I can't kill myself because my company's got a life insurance policy, so I want you to murder me." And Fletch says, okay.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
He just sort of runs along with
There's
it.
a story here.
Yeah, but what is he? Yeah, exactly.
There's a story here.
And therein lies the...
Let's get to my hunch. Why does this guy want me to murder him?
Right.
So he saddles up with another story despite the fact that he's in the middle of the drug story, which, oh my God, surprise,
Interestingly,
surprise,
There's a
is tied
tie.
up.
And in the book, that wasn't the case. They were totally separate.
I was going to ask you
Yeah.
some questions about the book. For instance, with Geena Davis, who used to be in movies,
Larry.
but not in movies anymore. Larry, yeah, that's my question. Is there more of a backstory to
I don't
her
remember.
and
I
why
honestly-
her name is Larry?
I honestly don't
One of the
remember.
worst names ever.
No, Larry's actually a really great name for the cute girl in the office.
Why?
It's a really great because it's radar.
it's different.
It's
Sexy.
Okay.
It's girl radar.
She does do all of his homework for him.
Yeah.
That okay. You know
And
what?
there's no love interest, it would appear. She wasn't jealous at all.
Right?
Well,
no,
they
not at all.
They sort of paint her as the love interest for a little, or like a little bit of a girlfriendy side piece for a minute because he makes little comments to her throughout, and he's like, "I love your body, Larry," when he's signing off the phone or whatever.
Right.
I think she's more like Moneypenny.
Yeah.
yeah, there's
You know,
they don't
where
have much of a section. He hits on her, but she doesn't respond in any way.
well,
It's
Moneypenny. I think Moneypenny and Larry both would like to bang.
Mr. Bond.
Yeah. But
Yeah, but I'll take Daniel Craig over Chevy Chase any damn day. My God.
well, that's not.
Particularly current.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially if you're talking about current times.
Oh, Abed.
She's scratching his back.
Literally
and he's
and
on a
figuratively.
microfiche machine.
I know, isn't that funny? Do
You know
what
it's
that is, Jane?
1985. Yes, I do
Never
actually.
seen
That's
one of
how you
those.
used to look at newspapers.
Mhm.
that
How
were
do I
cataloged in
search?
the
Where do
library.
I type to search for the things that I need to find?
Where's the Google?
Whatever did happen to Geena Davis?
She was actually on Grey's Anatomy for a bit.
I'm already bored.
That was several seasons ago, though. So you don't really see her anymore, though. You're
Well,
right.
she's an Earth girl. That's not so easy anymore.
That's,
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah.
Not ever since Jeff Goldblum got a hold of her. My God. But
Wait, are we talking about Death Wish?
oh, you're the
Did he do that to her?
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Take banana. Anyway, so Fletch
I
and
hate so much.
you hate
about
us.
the things that y'all choose to be. Jeff, I still love you. I know better.
There's Emmett Walsh.
Oh, and he gives him quite a
Yeah, Moon River.
an exam.
Well, this scene.
Chevy Chase must get nervous on airplanes.
Yeah, this.
That was just for Adam. You don't even know what I'm talking about.
I do not. I don't. But I'm used to that. So, this scene, Chevy Chase goes to the doctor's office. The doctor of the wealthy person, Stanwyck, who's hired him to kill him, trying to find out, does he really have cancer?
Right.
And it introduces this concept that Fletch just waltzes into places, bullshits people, lies about who he is, and gets the information.
He's not really, I disagree with their description in the synopsis where it's like a veritable chameleon. Okay, he's got a few decent disguises in this movie. One is, skating Jesus, then dressing up like a doctor, but he just throws on some scrubs, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, he's not a chameleon. He's a bullshit artist.
Yeah, he literally just jibber jabbers people into confusion and just talks nonsense until they're tired of pulling at the thread to figure out who he is.
What was the name of the doctor he played?
I can't remember.
Dr. Rosen.
He kept changing it.
Oh yeah, Rosenschnitzel.
Yeah.
Rosentinkle.
And he gets away with you get some Pierce vibes from Community in this, because Chevy Chase gets away with some pointed racism in this movie. Like when he first goes to Matheson's house, and one of the cleaning ladies is like, "Hola, buenos dias," and he's like, "Oh, pup and taco," and like just walks right past.
Tierra
her.
del Fuego.
Yeah. He does a couple of.
That's not racist. He doesn't speak Spanish.
He's just throwing out some Spanish.
He's
words.
just gibberish.
And then when they put him in the cell later, he starts singing "Swing Low, Sweet Cherry."
Because that's what you do when you're in jail.
I would have done that.
Yeah, you got to do that, and if you have the
you're
cup,
racist just like Chevy Chase?
you've got to take the cup and slide it across the bars like that.
Anyway.
Speaking of Community, I like to think that every Chevy Chase movie that I liked was actually a part of Pierce Hawthorne's life, so that he's got, Pierce has got this incredible backstory that we just never knew about, because he was Clark Griswold, he was Fletch, he was others.
He was that other
Spies
guy.
Like Us guy.
He was Ty.
Ty.
Ty, that's good.
Yeah.
He was sodomized by a doctor here in a very
Sodomy.
entertaining way.
Using the whole fist, doctor.
Ouch! Oh, the
You ever
look
do
on his
time,
face.
Doc?
Yeah.
The only other person I could think of that I would have been happy to see play Fletch. Bill Murray could have done it.
I was about to say Bill Murray would have been a great
Bill Murray
fit.
could have done it, but I think Steve Martin.
Yeah, I think he could have.
Yeah, because Steve Martin has that same ability to just be funny.
Do silly stuff. And
in a very structured
entertaining.
way that
Yep.
looks like it isn't.
And it would have been a little bit funnier because Steve Martin is even more distinct looking. Like Chevy Chase is just, he's tall, but he's kind of an average looking, brunette guy. Whereas like Steve Martin has this shock of white hair where it's like, how is he blending in anywhere?
Right.
So that would have added an extra layer of funny in my personal opinion.
Now, was that racist that every doctor started with Rosen?
A little bit.
It's an
I was a bird.
observation.
At one point, doesn't he say something like Rosenjew? I think he actually says
Probably.
something to that effect. But
It was the 80s. Things like that would slide.
These are jokes that
how
were.
did such a dismal decade ever produce such a marvelous human being? My God, I ask you. Anyway.
I think you flipped around some terms there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How could such a
some
marvelous
inversions.
decade
Yeah, there.
produce such a absolutely wonderful lady?
Yeah. You sit closer to her.
I know, exactly. I'm
within reaching distance.
within striking range.
He's already been stricken once this evening. He's not going for twice.
No, it was, so the movie, and you, Darth, obviously have not seen it.
I had never seen Fletch, actually. I knew of its existence, but it was one of the few Chevy Chase movies that I just haven't seen for goodness knows what reason. I don't think... you said it was a wild success. I don't remember people talking about it. It
was a success. Yeah. Well, look, they made a sequel and it had a bigger budget. It had a lot bigger budget.
No, I believe you.
Yeah.
It's just that for whatever reason, when I was growing up, I didn't hear people talking about it. So it's not like, oh, I heard about Christmas Vacation and all the vacation movies. You hear about those. You hear about not Animal House. You hear about Caddyshack, and those are the typical ones that come up with Chevy Chase's name. But I knew he was in Fletch. Like I said, I knew it existed, but it wasn't like, oh, you gotta see it.
Is this his first solo project where he is like the star?
Because it was kind of like Bill Murray and Scrooge. Was this his first starring role on his own?
It was ensemble in Caddyshack for sure.
Yeah, he was definitely ensemble in Caddyshack.
Or one of the vacation movies first, because
I think the first vacation.
They both had
the first
sequels.
vacation
You're right.
movie was first.
His first vacation was in 1984.
And
even that is still
I remember
somewhat
it.
ensemble-ish, but it's still
but
rotates
he
around
led the
Clark.
movie though.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was top bill.
I would say that this is more of a starring role though, because it relies more heavily on him. At least with the Griswold family, you've got he gets to play off the wife and the son a little bit. Everybody's got their comedic moments, whereas everybody around here, they're just props for Chevy Chase to use. Like even the love interest, the girl that he does wind up with, she's
she's in there just
she's
as
pointless.
Yeah,
she's eye candy.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, she needed to be there. She did actually provide some sort of motivation for different things. So I mean, it worked for me. But yeah, and I think maybe one of the reasons why it didn't get the same level of like cult following and talk about itness is because again,
talk about itness is that a coined term?
Yes, it's a neologism.
Ooh, raise the pinkies.
Yeah.
Big words.
Yeah,
big words.
I think because it is a detective movie, it to me it's right in there with Beverly Hills Cop.
Well, the music certainly is.
That helps a lot. Yeah, Harold Faltermeyer did both of those.
Because no joke, Hindsighters, Jason listens to this soundtrack in his car.
It's great. Look, if you listen to Harold Faltermeyer, you get Fletch, you get Axel F. from Beverly Hills Cop, and you get the Top Gun anthem, which is fantastic. But
no K-Log.
No K-Log. Actually, Pandora does throw K-Log in there if you listen to those three.
That's amazing.
No, you get a lot of K-Log.
Love it.
But it was funny you walking down the hallway with your iPhone strapped on, playing the theme song of Fletch as he's moving from room to room.
It's great. And I've got an internal monologue going on. It's great.
Because Jason did tell us off camera, Hindsighters, that would be his theme music if he could choose it.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Brown, what would be your theme music if you had any to choose?
Oh, why do you put me on the spot like this? I would
because it's fun.
But are you doing the Bionic Man or Chariots of Fire?
I was about to
Could be either.
Okay.
Depending on the situation.
I think if it's not Fletch, it would be Music Box Dancer. I flubbed it.
I was about to say.
I flubbed it. Flubbed the line.
Can you do a sample for those younger Hindsighters who don't know what the hell you're talking about?
Yeah, no, they need to look up Music Box
Okay, fine.
Dancer.
It's a great challenge you.
Yes.
Get on your devices and look it up.
That's a great song or a great piece. But no, so I think that in my mind, there's sort of a spiritual connection between Fletch and Beverly Hills Cop because they're both fish out of water. I mean, Fletch isn't really a detective, but he is.
Right.
He's
absolutely.
an investigative journalist.
Yeah, and they are legitimately trying to solve a mystery, and that's really the bulk of the movie is this mystery. That's the thread that goes through. Every action is based on that. But you've got Eddie Murphy or Chevy Chase, and they're just doing all this comedy stuff because that's what they do. That's what they're good at.
Yeah, but I think Beverly Hills Cop was a little more serious. It wasn't Eddie Murphy was kind of pranking people and making an ass out of those around him, but he wasn't sitting there just, with all that. He wasn't jibber-jabbering at everybody and making jokes at other people's expense so much as he was distracting people with pranks. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
I see that as more of a cop movie than this.
Beverly Hills Cop was also a revenge movie.
That's true.
Because his friend got
and
murdered.
Eddie Murphy was a cop as opposed to a journalist.
Yeah.
So, okay.
In this one,
you're
Fletch is literally just out for himself, trying to solve, so he can write the story.
Well, and after a while, the stakes get higher because he's going to lose his job. His editor doesn't believe him. He's got to prove that he's right in order to not only save his life, but his entire livelihood.
And he could be shot by a corrupt police officer.
Yes, let's talk about
Uncle Phil.
The chubby blue line. Joe Don Baker.
Yeah.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This movie, for all of you MST3K fans out there, this movie features Mama Mitchell.
Hold on. Joe Don Baker and James Avery, a.k.a. Uncle Phil. Because I said Phil, and then
Uncle
you
Phil.
said Joe Don Baker. We don't want people to think that they're the same person because they are very much
Well, yeah,
alike.
because Joe Don Baker was who was going to shoot him.
He was,
Yeah.
but James Avery planted the coke on him.
Yeah, that's
with the
true.
other
That's
corrupt
true, yeah.
police officer.
Yeah.
So
Wasn't Joe Don Baker walking tall? Was he?
Yeah, he was in the first one.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it was Sven or something.
Bo
Svensson.
Svensson.
Bo Svensson.
Who I think he was in something else we did.
He might have been.
Yeah, I think he was. But yeah, he was in the first Walking Tall.
Right.
Do you know how many Walking Tall movies there are? There's like 7.
I was going to say that. Walking Tall.
The
Part
Rock
2.
played.
Oh, that's
They rebooted it,
yes.
and he played it once, and then Kevin Sorbo played him twice.
Got it.
I think that the Walking Tall franchise is actually more long-lived than Buford Pusser, who died at the age of like 32.
What a name.
Yeah. Well, that was him. Yeah, he was an ex-wrestler who became a cop in Tennessee and cleaned up the town. True story.
Okay, so but back to the movie for a second before we get to this stereotype of the girl not knowing anything about sports or how to play them. So Fletch discovers, due to the doctor not being super helpful, he goes undercover further to find that Tim Matheson Stanwyck does not have bone cancer. And so now he's really got to discover why Matheson wants him to murder him. And so what does he do but go to Matheson's tennis club and hit on his wife?
Yes.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
First order of business in every case.
And he never takes his racket out of the case.
No, he doesn't.
That was a problem.
No.
He's so good. He can just do it with the case on.
Well, it's a classic 80s, trope too, where he's at the very expensive country club billing everything to some asshole, the Underhills, who, and it's great writing because there's a character that has no purpose in the movie whatsoever except to be an asshole
Bilked,
that
right?
that Fletch gets to stick the bill to.
He sticks the banana in his tailpipe.
Yeah.
As it were.
But
no, in just these little throwaway comments, I can believe that Chevy Chase ad-libbed a lot of it because when he's making up all these ridiculous names that he goes by in conversation, the girl, and I'm forgetting her name right now, it's on the list.
Maddie from Tombstone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dana Wheeler, Nicholson. I thought perhaps Jack
Yes,
go at her, but it's a different Nicholson.
I mean, he might still have.
Yeah.
Hasn't he with everyone? I mean, hell, he hit on me last Tuesday. But no, she tells Chevy Chase.
Jade, you look great.
And, but she tells Chevy Chase.
You are my number one. A guy.
Ew. But she tells him, "Oh, that's a beautiful name," and he's like, "Oh, thanks, it's Scotch Romanian." Like, just he throws out utter nonsense at everyone in his path.
Yeah,
and that's how is. I don't know that he's the veritable comedian so much as everyone around him is just either stupid or wildly unobservant.
Well, they're all foils. Everyone in the movie is a foil.
Yeah,
except for
Chevy
Chevy
Chase. There
Chase.
for him to play off. Like,
yeah.
That's it.
And I do like the fact that the movie has a good way of letting Fletch suddenly, particularly, and we'll get to it at the end, whenever he lays the trump card on the bad guy, and it's just got everything. He's just got all the bases covered. He's figured out exactly how to thwart the plan. And
except
for Mitchell.
Yeah.
The chubby blue line shows up and screws everything up. But Fletch, it's almost like he's using the comedy to deflect people away, and he's actually a really, really smart guy. And he's very good at his job. And I really like the fact that he's a popular investigative reporter who publishes under the name Jane Doe.
Jane Doe,
yeah.
yes.
So nobody knows who he is.
Yep.
That's great.
Well, that serves him in some ways, but not in others, because when he starts to get in trouble and then he has to claim who he is, he's like, "Oh no, I'm an investigative journalist." They're like, "Yeah, okay." Nobody can believe him because he goes by that pseudonym. So it's
Irwin M.
Yeah.
Fletch.
Don't call me Irwin.
And then at the end, he's, "Oh, Fletch, call me Irwin."
Yeah.
It's just.
Well, if you look at it, if he does the first two initials in his last name, what is it? I'm Fletch. I am Fletch.
That's
Irwin
a great
M.
story.
Fletch.
Oh,
You never
okay.
caught
Yeah,
that?
yes,
I am
yeah.
Fletch.
I thought you were just making fun of him.
No, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
You were just sitting there with a blank stare.
That's good acting. Acting is being
Thanks
sometimes.
to Scotch Romanian. Anyway,
Oh.
but he's got a lot of little throwaway comments. For instance, he's on his way to his apartment, and he's avoiding his wife or ex-wife, excuse me, / her attorney,
He owes
who
us money.
is stalking him on his fire escape. And he tells him that he's like loitering and trespassing, and the lawyer comes back saying, "No, I'm neither loitering nor trespassing. I've simply chosen an advisable location to await my client's delinquent husband. And I was just like, wow, I wish I could get my attorney to stalk people on that level. But
Yeah.
Jason's just too lazy for that.
It's not. There's not enough money in it.
But he pays his alimony, and the lawyer's a little surprised. He's like, "Oh, thanks, Fletch." He goes, "Yeah, thanks. I saw my pimp today." Just like little throwaway comments that are so funny, and that's why I can't take the movie that seriously, because it's like he just skates through every situation.
And he does his own stunts.
Oh yeah,
Check that
I
out.
was
he's a
wondering
regular
that.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Now, did you recognize Fletch's ex-wife's lawyer?
No.
There's another movie you've seen him in, and I think you'll go, oh my god,
Absolutely. Well, I know the face.
Do
I just don't
tell.
remember.
Spaceballs.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
See, right there.
Yep.
It's just another one of those just great actors who, put him in a movie, he's going to do fine. He's going to play that character, and it's great.
He strawberry jammed Chevy Chase on that fire escape.
Yes.
Or raspberry jam. I can never remember the flavor. Anyway. But yeah, so Chevy Chase, you come to find when he gets home, he's got this fantasy. And
He loves the Lakers.
he does love the Lakers. Well, you see an allusion to it because he's wearing a Lakers jersey when he's wandering around on the beach doing his
Yeah.
investigating into the drug cartel or whatever the situation is there. But then he falls asleep and dreams that he has an afro and that he plays for the Lakers.
It's a very random
Thank
scene.
God he didn't do blackface. Boy, he'd be paying for that today, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Well, there was actually another scene similar to that was cut, and they actually did film him having a dream. And I don't know if it was supposed to be like a part of the dream that we see or if it was in a later part of the movie, but where he's playing for the Dodgers and he gets into a fight with Tommy Lasorda.
Oh.
And that's why later in the movie, when the chief of police has the picture of him with Tommy Lasorda,
yes.
that's why Fletch says, I hate Tommy Lasorda, and punches him. And punches the picture and breaks the glass. That's why. Yeah.
Was there an outtake somewhere about that? I feel as though I've seen that scene.
It's probably, yeah. I'm maybe on the Blu-ray or something.
Probably.
You know.
Yeah. The director's cut.
Yeah, the director's got a Fletch.
I'm not sitting down for that.
The
movie's long
4
enough as
hour
it is.
long director's cut. It was a great vehicle for Chevy Chase, and I think this led to a lot of other things. In particular, it led to a sequel, Fletch Lives, also based on a book. Did either of you see Fletch Lives?
No.
Negative.
Okay.
I just now saw Fletch. No, I haven't seen Fletch Lives.
It's surprising because a lot of people kind of pan Fletch Lives because it's very different. It's a whole different ball game. I think it's really good. There's a part of me that likes it a little bit more.
Hey,
So it's worth
sometimes
watching.
sequels are better. I love this random picture of the dog, like this huge poster.
Oh, I
of,
know.
Like a Mexican hairless sitting above his bed.
It looks
But-
like a killer shrew.
Yeah. Oh, it was shrews.
And what's
were
the coat
horrible.
rack back there?
Who knows? It's
Who
a
knows?
bachelor pad.
He's a bachelor.
Yeah.
But yeah, so fun fact, we're about to go into his fantasy with the afro. So apparently legendary Los Angeles Lakers play-by-play announcer Chuck Hearn lent his voice talents to the film because he's actually providing the narration for the dream where Fletch is playing for the Lakers.
Yeah. And Kareem is in it, right?
Kareem
He is.
Abdul-Jabbar,
Yeah,
back
Kareem
when
is
he
in it,
still
yeah.
had hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's bald in Airplane. He's done so many, not even just cameos. He's played little, just throw him in there kind of roles.
He's still, you see him every once in a while still.
He was on
Yeah.
New Girl.
Yeah. Yeah. You see Kareem.
He was on Scrubs. You've
Oh,
seen him
okay.
in a
All
lot
right,
of
yeah.
shows.
Yeah.
Kareem has been in like almost everything. And Chevy Chase is just getting mauled on the court. And
He's
biting
biting,
someone.
biting players. It's hilarious.
That's
Well,
great.
whew, look at the time. It's coming up on 30 minutes.
First break.
So we need to take our break. We will be back in about 1 second. And we're back.
So soon?
So soon.
Oh, my
I hardly
gosh.
had a chance to go pee. I just had to do it right here.
I soiled myself right here in the seat.
Thank God.
Well,
I
we're
can't
professionals.
smell.
We're professionals.
Yes, that's right.
Professional what? I don't
Now,
know.
during the break, though, Adam, you were saying something about the names.
I
that Fletch
love how he
uses.
pulls all these names from films, from history. He was Harry S. Truman, Ted Nugent, a musician.
Yeah, Ted Nugent.
And then, who are
Igor
you?
Stravinsky.
Yeah.
I'm Don Corleone, Michael and Fredo and Mo Green, et cetera, et cetera. And then I found out something I did not know, Jade.
Yeah, because that's actually relevant. We passed it already, but Stanwyck's mansion is actually the mansion from The Godfather.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was his
The
That's why it
exteriors.
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah.
why it looks
Okay.
familiar.
Yeah.
All right. And look, Pan Am.
I know.
I love Pan Am.
Do you know when Pan Am went out of business?
I do.
It was the 2000s. It still existed in the 21st century.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Well, it was one terrorist attack that took them down.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah. Anyway,
Bad press.
and on that horrible, depressing note,
We're going to take a break.
no,
Oh, wait. Damn
we
it.
got to keep
no
on
more
pushing through.
breaks. You get no more breaks.
Oh, do you remember when you can purchase a ticket and find out who was flying?
Oh, you
and
could just
actually-
ask them.
That was
Yeah.
bizarre
Yeah.
to me because you definitely can't do that anymore.
No.
Like, who's the person
But that's not a
saying yes
joke.
to me?
That's literally what it was like.
And you would
No,
buy
I
a
know.
ticket. And guess what? Your name was not on that ticket. It was just a ticket.
Yeah,
If
you
you
could just
lost
give
it,
it to somebody.
somebody else could take it and hop on the plane and
Yeah.
go.
Nowadays, you have to give a blood sample.
Oh, it's
sacrifice your
ridiculous.
That's
firstborn,
right.
Yeah, it's
just to get
miserable.
on a
Stool
plane.
sample.
Yeah.
Wait, which airline are you flying?
JetBlue.
Yeah, exactly.
No, we don't need to know
Frontier.
what the sample looked like. We need to know the airline.
It was Frontier Air.
I've been on Frontier once. It was a trip.
Yeah.
It was a trip. JetBlue, never again. that's a no-brainer. There's a lot of things though that don't exist anymore, cannot happen in movies. Like you were saying with the airline, being able to just walk up to the counter and talk and say, hey, who's on this, who's sitting next to me? What's their name?
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Delta's never going to tell you that today.
Absolutely not.
But another thing that I think we've lost is the telephone.
We've discussed this before
Yeah.
Yes.
on Black Christmas, especially with the rotary phone. But what is
Well,
the point with
just
this
the
one?
fact that it was not a thing that you could take your phone out of your pocket and call your editor and tell him what was going on. You needed to go find a phone.
Right.
Well, and
right.
it was helpful and not at the same time because Chevy Chase could have used, the help at certain points of this movie, but it's actually awesome because he can just fall off the grid because there's nothing to track him with.
Yeah.
Because he would have to go to a payphone to get in touch with his editor. You're right, Jason, but at the same time, there's no cell phone to get a signal from. So
Right.
you could just
It's not pinging on any towers.
Well, it reminds me of that Donald Glover joke because he's like, "Oh yeah, our entire village was destroyed. All the women were raped or like taken prisoners." Like, "Oh my God, dude, what happened?" It was nighttime. Well, back in 1985, it's like, "Oh yeah, this really."
You're about to see
slick-
something you'll never ever see
Yeah.
in a movie
But-
now.
Smoking a
But stay
cigarette.
with me for a second, because
Okay.
it's the same concept with the 80s because it's like, oh my God, Chevy Chase gave all these policemen and all these gangsters the slip. How? He went outside and drove away.
Yeah.
That's exactly
That's
right.
all he
That
had
was
to do
That's-
because
that-
it was
yeah.
1985.
No, I mean, it was a different world. It was a simpler time.
Oh, much simpler.
Much simpler.
We have to explain that to like the kids these days. Like Kaylee will ask me, "Oh my gosh, I can't be without my phone. I get anxious without it." I was like, back in the 90s, we used to go outside and just
Yeah,
be
it was
outside.
awesome.
Yeah, we would be outside. We had to be home at a certain time because otherwise that meant something was wrong unless you found the payphone, like you said, Jason, to
Yeah.
call your mom and tell her that you were too far away and you're on your way home.
Call me when you get there.
Yeah,
Call me
exactly.
when you
That-
get there.
That was a huge thing. When I would come home every day from elementary school, I had to call my dad, and if he wasn't available, I had to let his secretary know
Right.
that I was home. And that was just our system because no cell phones, no beepers, nothing.
No.
So
And a long distance call was expensive, so
Oh, yeah.
oftentimes you would make a collect call and they would not accept.
Yeah.
Oh, good, he's home safe.
Yeah.
That's
Collect
what
call
we
from,
would
I'm here, Mom.
bye.
Hang up quickly.
Yeah.
I'll see you in 6 months, Tim.
No, it was a very different world. And I think there's a dynamic shift as far as movies go because, you have a lot more freedom for characters to go just stick their nose in something. And, it's plausible that you could break into a land office and find a deed.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Well,
That's completely believable.
and even going back to the fact that he operates under a pseudonym, it'd be so easy to discover his real identity these days. There's no, I've hidden my identity from everyone.
Yeah, there's no
'cause I go
facial
as-
recognition.
Yeah, I go
you
as
know.
Jane Doe in the newspaper, so nobody knows who I am. No.
Oh, the internet would have figured
We
out who he
figured it out in
was.
30
Yeah,
seconds
15
flat.
minutes later. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was so much anonymity that you got from this lack of technology in the 80s to the point where, like you said, Jason, he could just break in and pretend to be a doctor and he's never going to get in trouble
Yeah.
for that.
No, they'll
And
never know who he was.
Not only that, like they just good-naturedly assume, like they don't ask for any sort of credentials. They don't even ask his name.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, you're dressed the right way. Come over here and help me with this procedure. It's
And, And
There's a level of trust.
And all the while with the threat of nuclear war hanging over their heads.
Ooh.
Which has been great. You know, it's funny because, you know, my kid and his peer group are like, oh my God, nuclear war, you know, like worried about nuclear war now for
They're
the first
getting
time in their
first
lives.
taste of it, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah,
Whereas I'm like, this is
grow
like-
up with that. Literally spend every day of your life with
Flash.
yeah, a piece of your mind, you know, you hear something, you know, is it a tornado siren or is it an air raid warning?
Yeah.
Because it could be both or either.
Yeah,
you know.
because there's a great joke about that on Scrubs where Zach Braff is like, I don't know, Elliot, it's something I've gotten used to, kind of like the constant threat of terrorism. Like there are certain things that your
Oh yeah,
generation
remember
gets used
terrorism?
Yeah.
That was like 6 seasons ago. Remember that? That was it. That was in the 2001, 2002 season.
Well, what was the
you
joke
know?
I heard the other day where it's like, I didn't realize that 2020 was going to be a trilogy. God, like, because it's just disaster
Yeah.
after disaster after disaster.
I personally think the COVID season was pretty poorly written.
It was like the
in
second
my opinion.
season.
I didn't like
Walking
any of the
Dead.
characters.
Yeah, that plot point went on way too long.
Yeah.
And I wasn't invested in any of the characters.
Yeah.
You're totally right.
And then they
Jason.
just got lazy, and it's like, well, how do we get ourselves out of this, you know, whole, well, let's have a war. You know, come up with something original, you
so
know?
lame.
I was hoping for aliens,
I mean,
personally.
that's
That's what.
speaking of which, Mr. Brown came to play.
I was.
I
Because
got
he's got-
aliens.
Are
I
they
got little
aliens or are they skeletons?
They look like
on your
aliens
shirt?
to
They're
me.
little aliens. I put little aliens on here, and I'm wearing a Fletch hat, except I'm a fan of the Yankees.
I'm going to commit a non-faux
And the
pas
Lakers.
and touch your shirt. Because I'm female and I'm allowed to do this.
Seinfeld taught us that.
Yes. Oh, they are little aliens. Some of them are winking.
Oh, you don't want an alien to wink at you.
No.
That's.
I'm like scared to look at his shirt
that's-
now.
Anal
That-
probe on
that
the
is
way.
the worst
Yeah,
thing.
Exactly.
I'm just going to scoot over here.
And, you know, you
No.
get taken on board the spaceship, and the alien goes, "You got pretty lips."
Yeah.
It's
Plant
one
those
of
lips all
those
over town.
aliens.
But so Chevy Chase, getting back to the movie, tracks down Stanwyck's family in Utah because he comes to find that.
Yeah, they dump on Utah a lot.
Because what we didn't mention, hindsighters, sorry, is that when Stanwyck hires Chevy Chase to murder him, you don't know if it's this Thursday or 2 Thursdays from now. It's just come and kill me on Thursday. They don't really specify which one.
And check in on Foursquare when you get here.
Yeah, and so Stanwyck has this whole involved plot to get Fletch out of the country. He says, yeah, I've got a plane ticket for you. There's going to be $50K in the safe along with my Smith & Wesson. Kill me
Very
with that.
convincing.
You know, try to kill me on the first shot if you can. And like they just sort of have a casual conversation about it. And he's like, yeah, I've got this in-depth plan to get you out of the country. You're going to go to Rio de Janeiro for a year. I'd recommend staying at least that long. And cool, calm, and collected. But so Chevy Chase looks into where the ticket is stopping off before Rio. And it's in Utah.
Utah.
Come to
yeah.
find, Stanwyck has people there, and not only, you know, a mother and father, but also another wife.
Another wife.
His first wife.
He's a
because
bigamist.
She's a Mormon.
Who has ever heard of a bigamist from Utah?
I don't know. It's a
It's a
strange
first.
thing.
I mean, it's so weird.
Guys,
you know?
like so random.
Alien concept.
How do you expect me to believe this? God.
Sorry, Mormons.
Sister. Sister.
Which I love the Mormons. Been friends with many of them, so you know, cap up your ink pots, okay? I'm very
Wow.
I'm friends with the Mormons. okay?
Anyway, yeah. So Chevy Fletch unearths the fact that Stanwyck is in fact a Mormon with multiple wives, unbeknownst to his second wife, who sucks at basketball and tennis back in L.A.
And she's got a terrible laudanum addiction.
Yeah.
What?
That's
That's the
an
tombstone.
opiate,
Yeah.
opiate drink
Oh,
that she was
right,
addicted
okay.
to.
Yeah.
In the movie Tombstone, same
Missed that
actress.
one.
Yeah.
No, she is. You're right.
But she sucks at tennis and sucks at what other sport?
Everything. She doesn't
Basketball.
know. She doesn't.
She sucks at tennis. She knows nothing about basketball.
She literally doesn't
like-
understand the concept of basketball.
of dribbling.
Dribbling
'Cause
doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, because the whole thing is that Fletch's idea of a romantic first date is to take a girl to a Lakers game because you get the feeling you never meet his ex-wife, but you get the feeling that they weren't compatible, obviously, because they're divorced. And he just wants a girl to take to a basketball game. That's all
Right.
he wants.
It-
He's a man of simple pleasures. At the
But
end of the
apparently
day.
she's not horrible at everything. He makes some
Oh yeah,
comments
yeah.
about her
She's good
prowess.
one-on-one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to be good at something.
At least it's not man on man.
You can't just set up your life and someone else's because you're a hot girl. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, you can.
Yeah, you can.
Because that's exactly what she is. But she's like, no, they're talking later, and she's like, why do they just like bounce the ball around? That seems kind of childish, doesn't it? And he's like, well, that's actually called dribbling.
Oh,
And,
that's so funny. Take your top off.
Yeah. And he's sitting there just having to explain the most basic rules of basketball to her because she doesn't really know anything about anything. She doesn't have to.
You mentioned not seeing Fletch's ex-wife.
Yeah, you never see her.
You don't see her in the sequel also, but it's great because the lawyer actually plays a little bit of a bigger part. He sort of bookends the sequel because the sequel, the plot is that Fletch's aunt or great aunt or something dies and leaves him her mansion in Louisiana. And whenever he goes there, it's a complete dump. It's like people are dumping toxic waste there and all this other stuff.
No.
But it's great because he goes to Louisiana to escape the lawyer. And when he comes back, he tricks the lawyer into, in exchange for canceling the alimony, I'll give you the house that was left to me by my great aunt.
Oh, wow.
And it's a toxic waste dump that's worthless.
Love it.
So that comes back in the second movie, which also the villain in the second movie is played by R. Lee Ermey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he plays
awesome.
a televangelist.
Gotta love that.
Yeah, how does she regard his other wife? And it's typical of a jealous
It
woman.
so is.
She's like, she looks like such a prostitute or such a whore or something like that. She looked perfectly legitimate to me.
Could you love a woman like that? No. And for 5-10 minutes tops.
That's right.
She's just,
and she doesn't love her husband.
No,
No,
absolutely
not at all.
not.
No.
I mean, she's somewhat. They paint her as more faithful than she ends up being because she does hit her boiling point, obviously, when she realizes that her husband's in on this drug deal with this cartel and the corrupt police force. That's when she decides to cheat with Fletch, is when she realizes that her husband is still married to some other lady. Because in the beginning, when Fletch is hitting on her, she's like, "Oh, are you, trying to pick me up?" And he's like, "Yeah, maybe." And she goes, "Well, if I had a nickel for every time one of my husband's flyboy friends tried to pick me up, I'd be a rich woman." And he's like, "Well, you're married to a rich man.
No, you are a rich woman.
Or you are a rich woman.
rich
Yeah.
woman.
And she's like, exactly.
Yeah.
And just like saunters away from him.
See, I would have followed that up and gone, now, wait a minute. So you're saying you do have a nickel for every single time? Wait a minute. You're worth millions of dollars. Hang on.
So
I
you're
need
the whore.
I need a calculator.
Yeah.
Well, no, she's not saying that she reciprocated,
No.
just that
Okay.
she was hit on
Yes.
Fair enough.
many times. Now, let's talk about
Skater
Gummy,
Jesus.
I feel like he's skating backwards a little bit.
Gummy and Sam.
Oh.
Sam, played by George Wendt
Yep.
From
yep.
Cheers.
from Cheers, Norm, who was also in a movie with Chevy Chase called Man of the House.
I forgot
with
about that movie.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
No, Man of the House.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
no, it's
I remember that.
JTT.
No, I know it was JTT.
I know
Hold
me
on.
some JTT.
Oh, I'm mixing it up with that
Man
Tim
About
Allen
the
movie.
House.
No, the Tim Allen movie where it's like Jungle to Jungle, where it's another kid making an ass of him, except his kid lived in the jungle. I don't know. Who cares? It was a 90s movie.
And
but I know what you're talking about.
Gummy is Larry Flash Jenkins.
Now, I did not recognize that person.
He
What has he done?
Oh, jeez.
I'm looking up Man of the House. Give me 2 seconds.
Look that up and then look up Larry Flash Jenkins, who is no longer with us.
Larry Flash Jenkins.
Neither is George. Yeah, George Wendt is gone too.
He is really?
Yeah,
I did
yeah. I'm
not
pretty
know
sure
that.
George
Oh,
Wendt
wow.
is
Larry
gone.
Flash Jenkins died in 2019.
Yeah, not long ago.
Okay, so I'm looking for bigger. So Bay City Blues. Oh, he was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, he was one.
Was he the guy like, "Do you have a dream?" Or no? Wait,
No,
that's
he
a different
was
movie.
the other guy. Remember when they stole the car? When the guy at
the other parking attendant.
yeah, the other
Yes.
parking
That's
attendant.
what it
Yeah,
was.
that's who he was.
Okay.
Yeah. So the movie rounds back to the drug thing because the way the movie works is that the corrupt police officer, Stanwyck, and the drugs all tie in together.
Right.
In the book, basically the police officer was there. You've got stuff with the cops in the beginning of the book, and Fletch is a fugitive the rest of the book, and that's really the purpose of the cops. And that is because Fletch has to do disguises and hide and all that. He can't just go out and be himself.
Right.
Well, at first the police chief is trying to play it like he's not corrupt because he's like, oh, I've got cops everywhere on that beach, but Fletch already has the skinny on everything, so he gets down to the bottom of that pretty quickly. But how is Stanwyck involved? I forget.
Stanwyck,
He's wrapped up
Is he
in
funding it?
well, because that's how they
He's-
transport. They
he's
transport drugs on the
transporting
plane.
drugs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Because at
And
one point
the
Fletch
chief
is-
fronts him the money, and he goes to South America and buys the drugs.
That's right, because Fletch
Yeah.
goes under cover to be like an aircraft repairman or
Yeah.
something.
That is funny bit.
He's like, yeah, I need some ball bearings. They're like, what the hell you
It's
need
all
ball
ball
bearings
bearings
for?"
nowadays.
It's all ball bearings, man. But he's like, oh, yeah, he's got enough fuel and he's going to Utah. And they're like, yeah, but you got enough fuel to make it to South America.
Specifically,
Oh, wow.
specifically South America.
Yeah, as if they know where he's going.
Yeah.
It's-
He's got enough fuel in here to fly to Medellin, which is in Colombia, and is also known as a hotbed of cocaine production.
He's flying to Djibouti.
Here, look at my slides.
Now,
So-
were one of those mechanics from Blazing Saddles? I thought he was
yeah,
one of the he was one of the cowboys.
yeah,
I thought.
the dumb one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Throw
yeah.
out your hands, stick out your tush.
yeah, that's right. Grab yourself a bush or something. I can't remember.
I'm scooting away once again.
Oh no, the crickets. Look,
I'm not saving you.
They both have similar beards in
Oh,
the
yeah.
scene. See how I try to? Oh shoot, I'm getting the evil eye. It's the evil eye.
Yes, I'm so evil. But
No, you are not.
So the way the movie sort of wraps itself back around to the beginning to finish everything
It
off.
reaches, it reaches
So the
around.
way
It
the
doesn't
snake
reach
eats its own
around.
tail.
Yes, it does. Yes, it doesn't reach around. It
to the bush.
you've got to you have to wrap up the Stanwyck wanting to murder him story. You've got to wrap up the cop, the Jodan Baker story,
Right.
and the beach story,
Oh yeah.
which that gets dealt with by Fletch convincing Gummy and Sam to
Turn state's
turn
evidence.
state's evidence, and it's really
And he has to
like
explain that to one of them.
He plays it them against one another. He said
Yeah.
so and so turned state's evidence. So
Well, in a way,
they sung like
well,
canaries.
it helps them both because they're both kind of stuck in their roles
Yeah.
of being on the beach and distributing the drugs. And Sam says, "Oh yeah, I don't even really get paid. I just get free smack. That's
Yeah.
all I
Right.
get in exchange, and I'm just sort of trapped." And the cop found some of the most destitute people on the street to trap in this scenario so that they can't talk out against him. But Fletch kind of relieves them because he's like, no, Gummy's going to turn state's evidence, and you should do the same.
Yeah,
Like he's trying to
yeah.
encourage them so he can help them out of this vicious cycle. So yeah, now he's
and then
back
he
at the
should have kept
Godfather
them
mansion.
apart. He should have kept them apart after that so they couldn't talk to each other. But it
Damn
wouldn't
it,
have been.
man, he's an investigative journalist.
Yeah,
not a
and
cop.
it wouldn't have been as you wouldn't have had that good scene where he brings them both into the newspaper
where they're using the
office.
phone
Yeah,
in the office
yeah.
and
You don't have anything valuable in
know.
there, do you?
But he shows up to the mansion of Stanwyck's.
dressed
and
very nicely.
In
fact,
Stanwyck's suit.
Stanwyck's
gonna-
clothes.
Who puts him in that suit, gentlemen? This is very important because when he gets busted for
Matty
charging,
Earp.
because when he gets busted for charging to Underhill's account because he spends like $400 on lunch in one go.
Which would be like probably about $1,000, I'd say.
It would
today.
be- it would be now.
2022
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
It's $100,000 of caviar. But so he does show up in Stanwyck's suit, and that's how Stanwyck finds out that Fletch has been stooping his wife.
Yeah, and Fletch walks into the trap that Stanwyck has set for him, and
On this,
and
the day of my own murder.
yeah, and Fletch is in complete control, and it's great.
What?
No, he
I
is.
think it goes back and forth with him because there are moments where he stops and he's like, oh my God, that guy's got a gun now, and he's pointing it right at me. You can see it on his
Yeah,
face.
but he's got the letter in his pocket, and he knows as soon as I pull this letter. And the only thing that screws it up is that Jodan Baker shows up.
It's
Right.
his scapegoat.
And Fletch doesn't have to kill Stanwyck because Jodan Baker shows up and is quite cross with Stanwyck, and
Because Stanwyck's going to double cross the entire police force and make sure that Jodan winds up in prison himself.
yeah,
And he's dressed just like Fletch was the day that they met because he's going to pose as Fletch after he murders Fletch They've actually done a costume swap. He's
Yeah.
in Fletch's clothes and Fletch is in his, but he's going to murder Fletch. And then and this was a bit of a plot gap that I noticed. So in the beginning of the movie, when Stanwyck first solicits Fletch to murder him, thinking that he's just an everyday junkie on the beach, he's like, so I would recommend that you get out of town, which we covered. But he's like, so you'll need a passport. You got a passport? He didn't confirm that.
Yeah, he said, I can dig one up.
He had a lot riding on the
Yeah.
fact that this guy he thought was a beach drug-addled bum
That
had
is
a
true.
passport.
Okay, that's a good
He
point.
just assumed that.
Yeah, that is a good point. I mean, it's a weak spot in the plan.
It is. And so he's going to escape the country supposedly as Fletch, and he's going to go pick up his first wife, who he apparently prefers. And he's going to pick her up in Utah and then go to South America to Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah.
But yeah, the passport thing bugged me. I was like,
Yeah,
you
no,
thought
that's-
a smack-addled beach junkie had a passport?
That's a very
You
good
better
point.
see
yeah.
it first before you pull the trigger. Right?
Yeah.
And yeah,
That's how it is in most transactions.
And they could very easily, from the waist up, look
Yeah.
just like each other.
Yeah.
You know?
We're the same size.
Yeah.
From the waist up.
Little dig at the end.
Jonan Baker, though, he shows up and he's angry with Stanwyck, and he ends up shooting and killing Stanwyck.
Yes.
Stanwyck is now dealt with. Don't need to worry about him anymore, but we still have to worry about Jonan Baker. And Fletch kills him or takes him down in one of the more dumb Hollywood methods. That is one thing.
It turns into an episode of Dallas for approximately a minute and a half.
Well, he turns on the gas.
Yes,
fireplace.
turns on the
Yes.
gas logs, and then of course he's got his trusty Zippo, which we
Zippo.
see for
Yeah.
the
For
first
sure.
time. It's just like in Shark Night, where there was no story built around this Zippo that becomes an incredibly important plot point.
Well,
because it saves the day.
It's Chekhov's cigarette lighter. The only reason that we had the scene with him smoking a cigarette was to establish that he had a cigarette lighter. That was the
Okay,
only
but
reason that was in there.
You're right. That was more of
Yeah.
an establishment than in Shark Night, because that one.
Yeah,
showed
Shark
up-
Night-
that
yeah,
one
Shark
showed up
Night
as-
was-
It wasn't even
yeah.
like, oh, this was my dad's in Nam. Nothing.
No,
but
they
this-
think Chekhov is the guy from Star Trek.
This
if
here's
we're
McCoy.
lucky.
We get a Spock, we find us an away team. But yeah, so you're right. There is just that one little moment where you do see him smoking, but
Yeah.
they don't make a big deal out of the lighter.
Yeah, but it just puts it in your head.
That's
you
true.
know that it's
Yeah.
there. But
You should be
what
an
bothers
investigative journalist.
Yeah,
Jason.
thank you. But what bothers me about how Fletch kills Jonan Baker is that he turns the key to the gas for the gas fireplace.
You have to
And
assume that the flue is closed.
Well, yeah, and he lets it build up with gas for about 2 seconds.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Enough
saying.
to blow up the house.
And in 2 seconds, then he lights his cigarette lighter, throws it, and
Doesn't throw it anywhere near the gas
No,
logs. Just throws
no.
it in front.
No, just
as
in
if
the
there's,
general
like, a
vicinity.
torch of
Yeah.
gas coming out.
And this creates an explosion sufficient to knock Jonan Baker on the ground, where Fletch begins to grapple with him. But Jonan Baker gets the better of Fletch until,
Well, he's got like 50 pounds on him.
yeah.
so-
But then what happens?
The girl hits him with a tennis
She
racket.
hits him with a tennis racket.
That's the one sport she's good
Not,
at.
not that hard.
Yeah, she barely taps him on the shoulder,
Knocks
and
him
Jonan
out.
Baker coincidentally had one of his heart attacks at that moment. It was a
One.
complete coincidence.
Well, and I think this was a bit of a trope, especially with, the strong woman character. She's not really that character at all, but you had to have the female contribute something. You couldn't just have the damsel in distress figure anymore. She had to, I hit you and distracted you so Fletch could save the day. Yay! Because like you said, she doesn't knock the police chief out or anything. She just sort of taps him on the head with the tennis racket. And then Fletch gets the gun and the day is saved. Awesome.
He had a glass skull. Right? You just tap it, shatters.
The amazing thing about Jonan Baker, though, is if you look at him, and he's not a very impressive actor, and
Aw.
Misties around the world have gotten a lot of enjoyment watching the terrible cop movie Mitchell, and the even terribler cop movie Final Justice.
That was quite the hop of
yeah.
getting shot. You got to love it when Stanwyck just like blows backwards.
Jonan Baker was in not one, but two
James
Bond movies.
Yeah, yes. He was the trusty helper who
Yeah.
would bring the airplanes and things like that.
Yeah, he was a good guy in GoldenEye,
Right.
and he was
right.
a bad guy in this is gonna kill me. Living Daylights. So he was in a Timothy Dalton Bond, and he was in a Pierce Brosnan Bond. Well done, Jonan Baker.
You can do,
You
it's the
know?
magic of Hollywood.
Yeah. And there's a little love tap with the No stuntman. No stuntman required for Joe Don
Just
Baker
a little
right there.
tap on the shoulder.
He probably didn't even notice. They probably had to have an audio cue for him to fall.
Oh my God, Joe Don Baker was in Cape Fear.
He's been in a lot.
Cape Fear.
Yeah, I'm doing Cape Fear.
Fear.
And then
That was a Rick and Morty that you weren't paying attention to.
I'll watch it one day.
Wow.
I
and
will.
the movie wraps up in the way that good 80s movies end, with the bad guys either dead or in jail.
Yep.
And the hero gets to have money, sex, a trip, and he tells his boss to go see what you
screw
got to do.
yourself, yeah.
Well, he doesn't get money directly, but he gets the girl who supposedly gets the money.
She's got money.
Yeah,
Well, hold on though, because another plot gap. Does she get the money if she's not his legal wife?
Well, she was rich before. Remember, she had money.
She had
Right.
assets, but they all got tied up in his drug deal. So did that?
Yeah, we don't worry about
okay,
that.
all right, fine.
She's got the money.
But the little repartee at the end when they're walking out,
Repartee.
it's quite funny because they're talking about basketball moves and like the
Yeah.
he talks about the back squash or something like that, or the back jam, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I've done that before."
I'll bet you have, you little vixen.
Pick a move,
Oh,
reverse cowgirl.
The
I was hoping to
Cornerhead.
catch it, but I think we just missed
The
it.
Oh.
coroner declared Stanwyck dead
yeah.
or extremely sleepy.
This is, I think, a very important plot point that has nothing to do with the plot. At the very end of the movie, in the scene before they go to South America to live their vacation life, and in
other
the
words,
scene
the
where
beach is
they're
available.
on the beach in South America, Fletch has a baseball cap on.
He does.
And the baseball cap
Ah.
is a crew member's cap from the Nostromo.
Yes.
And it was worn by Harry Dean Stanton in the movie Alien.
That is
Yes.
awesome.
And I just think that's the coolest just throwaway thing that, oh, here, just use this hat. It's cool. And like, how did Fletch get that? You have to think, what was the story?
That's the movie that we need to make.
yeah.
Well,
There's your song.
Kevin Smith, Kevin Smith
We have to discuss this.
was signed on to direct a prequel to Fletch called Fletch 1, W-O-N.
Okay.
And
Got
I think it was like Jason Mewes, not Jason Mewes.
Jason Mewes.
I can't remember. No, not Jason Mewes. He had somebody lined up to play Fletch.
Ben Affleck.
Well, the studio wanted Ben Affleck, but Ben Affleck he had a choice between two movies.
Okay,
Batman and
here were the
Fletch.
options.
Okay, well,
So,
here you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rumors have swirled around various additional sequels, prequels, reboots. The most famous is a prequel titled Fletch 1 to be directed by Kevin Smith, while Ben Affleck, Brad Pitt, Will Smith, Jimmy Fallon,
Oh my God.
and
No.
Adam Sandler have
No.
all been linked to the title role. The film never materialized.
Thank God.
Oh
thank
boy.
you, Lord.
Thank you, baby Jesus.
There may come a time when we as humans have evolved to a sufficient state where we can make a prequel to what was a pretty perfect set of movies, but we're not there yet.
No.
Okay, well then,
No.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
then cast the prequel and don't say Chris Pratt.
Oh man, that's Ty Burrell.
Ty Burrell, well played.
Ty
I'm
Burrell.
sleeping on him.
Ty Burrell, absolutely. I think. Oh my God, Ty Burrell would be the perfect Erwin Fletcher.
I'm trying to remember who that is.
Modern Family,
Oh yeah, Modern.
the dad from
Once-
Modern Family.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. I can
Sarah
see it.
Hyland's dad.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, Mr. Brown, who would you cast as Fletch?
Oh, who was the guy, the Englishman who plays Superman? That guy just popped into
Henry
my head.
Cable?
Henry Cable. Yeah, I'd say Henry Cable.
I got-
English Fletch.
That'd be a more serious version of Fletch for
How,
sure.
how about this? Joel McHale.
Oh,
yes.
Well done,
Joel
well played,
McHale.
And
well
then,
played.
then you got to get
Oh,
Allison
he'd be
Brie in there
perfect.
somewhere.
Yeah.
He'd be perfect.
He would absolutely. And how
With a
could,
cameo.
yeah, with Chevy Chase.
Chevy
yeah.
Chase.
Absolutely.
All right, let's make that.
Donald
Okay,
Glover,
yeah.
Donald Glover could be Gummy.
Donald.
So who would he be?
Yeah, that's racist. Why he's got to be gummy?
Because he'd be a good Gummy. He'd be funny.
Because he shares a certain quality.
No?
Oh, he's painted her into a corner.
He loves doing that. No, I would see
'Cause he's a
Allison
lawyer.
Brie as like the trophy wife. Gillian Jacobs would be Larry.
Yeah,
Yeah. With
No,
Chevy Chase would be the editor.
Jim Rash would be hilarious.
No, Jim Rash would be the editor.
Oh yeah,
He would be the
absolutely.
great
Because every
editor.
With the
scene-
beard.
No, every
Yeah.
scene he'd be like, "Oh my God, Fletch, you drive me up a wall." Bye, and like molest Joel McHale and then run out.
Well, and also
so
it would be
great.
funny to have Jim Rash playing a character who made fun of another character who was constantly putting costumes on.
And Abe would
You
be
know.
the bad guy because he'd be like, "Oh, this is the part where the movie changes because I revealed this," and like he would just be sitting there revealing plot points.
We have
Okay, so
guys, we stop right
Yeah.
now and turn this off. Let's pitch this to Hollywood.
Yeah, seriously.
I think it's going to work.
actually, Ty Burrell would be good as Stanwyck.
Yes.
So you have
Yes.
Ty Burrell as Stanwyck,
Yes.
and Joel McHale as Fletch, and then Jodan Baker, who's a kind of dumpy. Parks and Rec.
Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman as Jodan Baker's
Oh
character.
yes,
Except I wish Nick Offerman would get facial hair again. I find him weird looking without facial hair.
he does look strange.
Yeah.
Well, wait till you see him like bleach blonde his hair. That's when he looks super strange.
But no, I think Nick Offerman, Joel McHale, Ty Burrell.
I'm trying to think where Donald Glover would fit into this equation. Actually,
Not
like,
Gummy. We'd have to put him.
No,
some-
not Gummy.
There
How
aren't
about
any.
Abed?
There aren't any
Well,
other
if I was
ongoing characters.
I said
Abed
Abed
could be Gummy.
No, I thought Abed would be like one of the bad guys, like the Stanwyck type of guy in my world. But maybe Abed and Donald Glover could be corrupt cops together. I think that would be really funny.
That would be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. They would plant the drugs.
Oh, yes.
On Joel.
Well, there you go. That's your movie.
There you go.
And so we barely need to recast anything
Oh, yeah.
in Community.
And
And we've even got Chevy as
yeah.
the anchor.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
That would just be that would be the coolest thing.
Why
to have
has
Chevy
no
Chase.
one thought of this yet?
We've recast Community
All
in
right.
so many different projects. Like we did it with Wonder Boys.
'Cause
Now
they're
we've done it with
They're the
Fletch.
perfect ensemble. There has never been a TV ensemble better than
Yeah,
those
because I'm
guys.
trying to honestly think who I would cast as Fletch these days. Like, who's kind of dynamic enough for that? Oh, I mean, Ryan Reynolds seems like an obvious choice, especially with the ties to Animal House, because that could almost be like the grandchild of Animal House, since Otter played his dad in Van Wilder.
Yeah, I could see Ryan Reynolds.
He
Well,
plays
he'd
too
have-
much, though. He gets too much.
Yeah,
work. We got to give other actors
Yeah,
a break.
I actually have sort of the
Fine.
same. No, I actually have sort of the same feeling. Like, no, don't give another one to Ryan.
Well,
Let
that's why I
somebody
said
else
that's
play.
an obvious choice. That's why I told you couldn't have Chris Pratt. So I don't know.
I don't think Chris Pratt could do it.
Why not?
I don't know. I need to go back and watch Parks and Rec. I've got too much post Parks and Rec Chris Pratt in my head to see him as Fletch. I think if I saw him
He's
as
not
Andy,
really- he's not like a wry kind of funny the way
Right.
Fletch is. So that's why I was like, okay, no Chris Pratt. Ryan Reynolds, too obvious a choice. Got it. I'm trying to think who else could do it in this day and age.
and I'm very proud of you, by the way, for not saying John Mulaney.
Well,
Yeah, that's
actually, I
real.
already-
That's personal growth on your part, and I think it should be applauded.
Should I tell him that I've already made a John Mulaney reference?
Yeah, I know you did. I know that, but you didn't cast him as Fletch.
I've never
Right.
cast him as anything. Like,
Other than
Pete
you're a
Davidson.
lover.
he's all the rage these days.
He is.
God.
Alf to Seinfeld for me, it's going to be a straight 5. I'll tell you that right now.
Me too.
Because,
I'm going to stick with 5.
Yeah,
I
it-
enjoyed it as a youth.
Yeah.
A youth.
A ute.
A ute.
I
Did you say
enjoyed
ute?
Ute. And I enjoyed it as an adult.
Do you mean adult?
Adult.
I think Mr. Brown had a stroke, so we're going to have to go. I also gave it a straight 5 first time ever seeing this movie. I enjoyed it. It wasn't what I was expecting because I honestly expected it to be more of a comedy. We were talking about this off camera, Jason, where I was
Yeah.
just like, oh, a Chevy Chase movie where it just, he had some funny lines and, muddled people's attention with this throwaway and this throwaway. And, he was funny at points, but like you said, it was more of a serious
Yeah,
movie than I was expecting.
Yeah, it's a detective story.
But it was good. I don't know what I was expecting, but this wasn't it. So I enjoyed it. So straight 5.
Excellent. 5
Alright.
plus 5 plus 5 divided by 3. 6.2.
Yeah.
I think it's about 6.2.
Round up and then carry the
Carry
3. Yeah.
Add the 2. Yes.
Here
that's
goes
right.
my math. That's part of the stroke. Is one of the symptoms.
Yeah.
Of 70.
Oh, he's
Hey,
starting to
you
slap.
got a
We gotta-
calculator. Come on. All right, Dart, take us home.
Oh, will do. So, Hindsighters, this has been a heck of a romp through the 1980s. Thanks for joining us for your drive time, your listening time, your Zippo lighter time, your multiple wives time to investigate a Fletch article time or a Jane Doe. article, I guess. But this has been Darth, Adam, and Jason with Hindsight, and good night.